Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob Cywes. I am the Carb Addiction Doc, and the reason I'm dressed like I am, kind of in this, I'm not wearing my routine scrubs, is because this is the evening after the first day of the Low Carb USA Boca 2023 conference, and I was really honored to be invited to speak today. But during this conference, and it was a beautiful thing because it was the first, actually the second ever carbohydrate addiction or food addiction or whatever you want to call it, but addiction, eating addiction conference. Nutrition Network hosted one. I was also privileged to be part of that as well. But this was a beautiful, beautiful thing. But during the talk, I listened to so many of the other wonderful speakers, very experienced folks, and I had this little aha moment. And this is so important, I think, and it's a point that was missed by everybody else. But having lived the life, still living the life, I had this thought. I'm pretty smart. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty experienced. I've been in this space. I'm still a student working at learning. I'm certainly no expert, but I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty intelligent, and I'm pretty good at having conversations with myself. And here's the question. Everybody on stage, all these experts were saying, well, you can have a conversation with yourself. You know, you've got to find out, why am I doing this? And what I realized is I said, you know what? I cannot have a conversation from a logical perspective with myself because addiction defies logic. My addiction specifically is wonderful in that it ignores logic. It's not wonderful, it's a bad thing. But what happens is, and I think this can resonate with you, the obsession builds. The obsession builds, and you actually do things without thinking, without logic. You know that it's a bad idea to shoot up with heroin. You know it's a bad idea to drink that bottle of wine before you drive. You know it's a bad idea to order that extra large pizza with 2 gallons of Coke and to eat and drink it by yourself. That was my poison. You know it's a bad idea, but you don't have a conversation with yourself. Oh, it's a bad idea. Or, oh, you know what? I've done really well. I'm going to reward myself. Nobody thinks consciously about their addiction. That's why it's an addiction. It is a subconscious way of being. But then when I realized, okay, we do have those conversations with ourselves. When does an addict have a conversation with themselves that is logical and rational? Afterwards. Because the thing about addiction, the thing that defines addiction, is the distortion of the reality of the harm to justify the behavior. So after you've pigged out on that pizza, after I've walked into the doctor's lounge to go and get that coffee and I've grabbed the bagel without thinking about it, without telling myself why or rationalizing with myself, after I've eaten it, after I've used it, after my wife has tied me up with duct tape and put ice cream down my throat, after that event, then, well, you know what? I went for a run today. I deserve a treat. Or I'm fat anyway, I might as well eat this. Or I screwed up, I might as well start on the new year. We come up with the excuses on the back end of the subconscious activation of the obsession. And that is why addiction cannot be treated logically, and it cannot be treated by saying, no, I'm not going to eat that. That defines addiction. If you have control over it, you're not an addict. I'm 25 years in, folks. Lost my weight 25 years ago. I still have those moments. And the only people that don't are those wonderful people on the internet that are perfect. No, we all have those moments. So the key thing about addiction is distance. Because if you don't have access, you can't get yourself into trouble when you desperately want to. If you don't see it, you don't do it. And then slowly over time, if you break a habit, and you cannot break a habit you're still doing, that's why addiction is managed through abstinence. And that's why this is carbohydrate addiction, not food addiction, because you can quit eating carbohydrates, but you cannot quit eating food. And food doesn't make you fat. Your relationship with sugar and starch does. But having said that, addiction management has to be binary, because in order to distance yourself over time, you keep the distance, you crumple up the cigarettes, you throw them away, you create that distance because you desperately want your drug of choice. But the longer you stay away, hey, that's not so bad. I don't miss them that much. And over time, when I look at a pizza and a can of Coke right now, that's disgusting. How the hell can anybody do that? But 25 years ago, that pizza and that can of Coke defined me. You cannot have a rational conversation with yourself up front. I'm not going to do it. You create. You have to take action. Promising yourself will never ever work. Take action. Make a concrete decision. Folks, it's been 16 years since I last carried money on me. I do not carry a wallet on me. Why not? My wife doesn't know this, but I had a secret love affair. I had this little illicit affair 16 years ago with M&M McFlurries. Drive home from work, on the way home to a good dinner, I'd lost my weight, go to McDonald's, have that little McFlurry. It had nothing to do with nutrition. It had to do with mind cleansing. It had to do with relaxation after work. And I could promise myself all day long, I'm not going to do it, it's bad. But that other little voice kept saying, hey, it's just a little McFlurry. Look, you're doing great. You're losing weight. That was kind of the justification, the validation. But when I go through McDonald's, when I go through that drive-through, there's no thought involved. It's a subconscious routine act. And that's what people that haven't been addicted do not understand. It's a subconscious reaction to an obsession. You're not in control. And that's the whole point of addiction. And I could promise myself, I'm not going to do that drive-through. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a different route. It didn't work. It didn't work. And there's no fail-safe way. But then I said to myself, okay, how do I protect me from myself? Because this is between me and me. How do I preemptively protect me from myself in that moment where my needs take over, my conscious brain goes on holiday? Well, the thing I came up with is McDonald's will not give me a McFlurry if I can't pay for it. So I left my wallet at home. I don't carry money on me. If I need money for gas or whatever it is, I take $20 with me. That was in the old days. Now I drive a Tesla. But the point is that you can plan for the times you need money. How often do you need money between work and home? And I haven't carried money on me for 16 years. And guess what? I haven't had an M&M McFlurry in the same time. And I'm proud of that. But addiction management requires purposeful action. If you promise yourself, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to start tomorrow, I'm going to finish smoking I don't know, top pocket, I'm going to finish smoking these cigarettes, and then I'm going to quit smoking. You're never going to quit. You crumple them up, you get angry with them, you throw them away. You create action. Action is change. And please understand that, because most people that are telling addicts how to behave and they've never had the problem don't understand that. When you're an addict, you are not in conscious control. And you can't talk yourself out of it, or rarely. You defend it on the back end. Oh my God, I'm so good at minimalizing and trivializing and rationalizing and protecting and defending and justifying mistakes that by the time I've massaged a mistake, it didn't even happen. And then I'm going to do it again. Part of the binary nature of addiction is it doesn't matter why you did something. It matters that you did it and you own it. You can't fix it going backwards. You can't pay it back. But you can analyze why it happened and correct it so that it doesn't happen again. But in the moment, hell no. Hell no. You learn from your mistakes. You create plans to learn from them. But addiction, by definition, is out of control. You can't self-speak your way out of addiction. It's not a rational thing. It is subconscious, it is obsessive, and then you make excuses for it on the back end. And undoing that only happens through distance and abstinence, and slowly the habit breaks. But you've got to fill that void that substance leaves with something else. So gone is the Coke, in is the coffee. That, folks, is from the trenches of addiction management. You're not going to read that in a book anywhere. No expert's going to tell you that. But think about it. Think about it. If this resonates with you, let me know. If you say, bullshit, it does, that's wrong, you don't understand, leave a comment. Please, let's open this up to discussion. And if you've had that aha moment, I've done my job. Take action. And if part of your action is to pick up the phone and text, WhatsApp, call 561-517-0642, come and see me and my team. I am the Carb Addiction Doc, but we have a whole team. We've got the Carb Addiction RD, the dietitian that'll help you with your eating pattern. We've got the Carb Addiction Mind, who is our psychologist, our psychiatrist. She's a nurse practitioner. She'll help you with your medication. She'll help you with the addiction side. She'll help you with your mind. Take action. And part of that action is to leave a comment. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. See you next time.